Look at almost any game we love to play, anywhere in the world, and you will find the exact same spatial layout. It is always a round object moving inside the strict white lines of a rectangular space. The court, the pitch, the borders, this is the square. It dictates the boundaries and the given constraints of play. These lines are not a cage. They are the necessary order that makes the game possible in the first place. Inside that order is the round, the ball. The ball is pure motion. It introduces unpredictability, bounce, and the potential for something new to happen on every play. Notice why the ball has to be a perfect sphere. Sphericity is physical fairness. Because it is perfectly round, no single player owns its bounce. It answers every strike without prejudice. If you take away the ball, you are left with sterile geometry. If you erase the lines, you get pure chaos. The joy of the game lives entirely in the physical interaction between the two. Slowing slightly for emphasis. We build massive stadiums to watch this interaction happen over and over because it mirrors a spatial dynamic that has dominated human psychology for 5,000 years. To find the roots of this geometry, we have to look back to the Liangzhu culture in China, roughly 3300 BC. This was long before the invention of written characters or oracle bones. Their artisans carved supreme ritual jades to map their world. This piece is the Kong, and its rigid, square outer edges represent the earth. But the Kong contains a hollow, circular core. In a single object, the carver was demonstrating how heaven and earth interpenetrate. A millennium later, that physical cosmology of the round and the square was translated into two-dimensional script, inscribed on fragments like this one. Observe the modern Chinese character for sky. Underneath the top stroke is a person standing with arms outstretched. The sky contains the human. This illustrates the ancient three powers of the Yi Jing: heaven above, earth below, and humanity perfectly centered. In this hierarchy, humanity is the only element of the three that must actively choose how to stand. This jade carving functions as a visual map for the mind. The human experience caught in the tension between the rigid boundaries of the earth and the limitless, round possibilities of the sky. This geometry became the architectural blueprint for the culture's most sacred spaces, like the Temple of Heaven in Beijing, where a circular structure sits precisely on a square foundation. The same shape was shrunk down and carried in the pockets of millions of citizens for 2 millennia. Round coins with square holes, heaven and earth threaded on a string. While this visual psychology was built into the landscape and commerce of China, the modern Western model of the mind was built inside the consulting rooms of Vienna, relying on talking cures rather than shapes. DeepSeek's adoption of the PRS framework marks the homecoming of China's original visual language, a system that needs no translation because its logic was already carved into the culture's first jades. The word psychology comes from the Greek myth of Psyche. In her final trial, she is sent to the underworld to fetch a golden box, with one instruction: do not open it. Psyche fails at the last moment. She opens the lid, and instead of beauty, she is overcome by a deathly sleep. Look at her posture, curled tightly over the lid. Her gaze is captured and bent entirely inward, consumed by an object that gives nothing back. This is fascination, not reflection. This posture mirrors the focus of traditional psychoanalysis. It prioritizes digging into the box of our hidden appetites and suppressed secrets, staring at the things that keep us immobile. When we focus entirely on the box, we spend our time cataloging what captures us, rather than learning how to move between the boundaries and the possibilities of our world. But Psyche has a second posture, looking into the still water of a natural pond. The water returns your gaze, but it layers your reflection with the environment. You see yourself among the ripples. It shows you yourself, but it keeps the rest of the world in the frame. This is the core of the PRS framework. The self is not a secret hidden in a box. It is a moving reflection constantly negotiating with its surroundings. This brings us back to the pitch. Like a round ball in motion, we are constantly interacting with the lines of the court. Every person stands at this fork of the gaze. We can choose to be consumed by the box of our own isolated profiles, or we can step into the space between the round and the square and play.